The distress call. The space monitoring station Sentinel Point Zeta hung silently in the darkness of space, Earth a blue marble in the distance. Inside, Officer Vivian Cole stared at her screen, her eyes growing wide with disbelief. Director, she called out, her voice steady despite her racing heart. I think you need to see this. Station Director Marcus Powell crossed the monitoring room with purposeful strides. He was a broad-shouldered man with salt and pepper hair and eyes that had witnessed the expansion of humanity into the stars. "What have you found, Cole?" he asked, leaning over the younger officer's shoulder. "A signal, sir, nothing like we've ever received before." She pointed to the screen where a series of patterns pulsed rhythmically. "It's coming from the Epsilon sector." Powell's brow furrowed deeply. The Epsilon sector was far beyond established trade routes, a region few exploration vessels ventured into. Those that did rarely returned. "Are you certain it's not just background radiation, some kind of stellar phenomenon?" Vivian shook her head firmly. "No, sir, it has a clear pattern repeating with precise intervals. I believe it's a distress call." Powell studied the screen for a long moment, watching the strange sequence repeat itself. "Send this to Earth Command immediately. Mark it highest priority." 3 days later, Commander Nora Vasquez stood in the briefing chamber at Earth Command headquarters. The walls displayed star charts and fleet positions as 24 of humanity's top military and scientific minds debated the mysterious signal. Admiral Jackson, head of the interstellar fleet, raised his hand for silence. "We've called this meeting because our analysts have partially decoded the signal. It appears to be a distress call from deep space, containing coordinates and fragmented data about an attack." "It could be a trap," General Wei said, her expression grave. "The Epsilon sector isn't friendly territory. We've lost 3 exploration vessels there in the past decade." Commander Vasquez listened carefully. She was a veteran of numerous first contact missions, her dark eyes reflecting years of difficult decisions made in the depths of space. "Whether it's a trap or not," she said, rising from her seat, "someone or something is calling for help. If we ignore this, what does that say about humanity's place among the stars?" Admiral Jackson nodded slowly. "Commander Vasquez makes a valid point, but we can't risk the entire fleet on an unknown." "Then send me," Vasquez said firmly. "Give me a small team and a fast ship. We'll investigate and report back." The room erupted in discussion, some arguing for caution, others for immediate action. Finally, Admiral Jackson's voice cut through the noise. "Enough, Commander Vasquez, you have your mission. Take the scout ship Horizon and a team of 12. Find the source of this signal and determine if assistance is needed, nothing more." Vasquez nodded. "We won't let humanity down, sir." 5 days later, the Horizon prepared to leave Earth's orbit. The sleek vessel was designed for speed and stealth rather than combat, perfect for their reconnaissance mission. Vasquez surveyed her hand-picked team as they took their stations. Engineers, pilots, scientists, and security personnel, all volunteers who understood the risks of venturing into uncharted space. "This mission won't be easy," she told them as they gathered in the ship's briefing room. "We don't know what awaits us at those coordinates, but something is calling for help and we're going to answer." Chief Engineer Raj Patel looked up from his diagnostic panel. "Engines are primed, Commander. We can depart on your order." Vasquez took her place in the command chair, feeling the familiar weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. "Send our departure message to Earth Command. Set course for the Epsilon sector, maximum speed." As the Horizon accelerated away from Earth, Vasquez gazed at the stars stretching before them. What would they find at the end of their journey? A new ally, a dangerous enemy, or something humanity had never encountered before? Whatever awaited them, they would face it as humans always had, with courage, adaptability, and determination. The Horizon dropped out of FTL travel with a flash of blue energy, the ship's systems automatically adjusting to normal space. "Location confirmed," announced pilot Darius Chen. "We've reached the coordinates from the distress signal." Commander Vasquez rose from her chair and approached the main viewport. The stars here looked different, more densely packed, with unusual colors flickering among them. "Life signs?" she asked. Dr. Naomi Taylor, their xenobiologist, studied her readings intently. "Very faint, but yes, something's definitely out there." "I see it," called navigator Haruki Tanaka. 2 o'clock, approximately 8,000 kilometers away." Vasquez turned to the main screen. There, barely visible against the backdrop of space, floated what appeared to be a ship, or what remained of one. It was unlike any human vessel she had ever seen, with a design that resembled a crystalline structure, fractured and damaged, emitting a pulsing cyan glow. "Scan it," Vasquez ordered. "Already on it," replied Science Officer James Washington. "The vessel shows severe structural damage. Life support systems are failing. I'm detecting 8 life forms aboard, but their vital signs are deteriorating rapidly." Vasquez made her decision instantly. "Move us closer, prepare a boarding team. Dr. Taylor, gather medical supplies. We don't know what kind of beings we're dealing with, so bring everything." 30 minutes later, Vasquez led a team of 6 through the airlock and onto the alien vessel. Their environmental suits protected them against the unknown atmosphere as they moved cautiously through the damaged corridors. The interior of the ship was as extraordinary as its exterior. The walls seemed to be composed of the same crystalline material, though here it was smoother, with intricate patterns that glowed with a soft blue light. Everything flowed in gentle curves with no sharp angles anywhere. "This way," Vasquez said, following the signal from her scanner. "Life signs are getting stronger." They moved carefully through the ship until they reached what appeared to be a central chamber. There, they found the aliens. The beings were bipedal but unlike humans in almost every other way. They stood over 7 feet tall, with slender bodies covered in iridescent scales that shifted colors like oil on water. Their faces featured 4 large, multifaceted eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and where a human would have a mouth, they possessed what appeared to be delicate gill-like structures. One of the aliens stepped forward. It was clearly injured, with a viscous blue fluid seeping from several wounds on its torso. "Hello," Vasquez said calmly, keeping her hands visible in a universal gesture of peace. "We received your distress call. We're here to help." The alien didn't respond with sound. Instead, a gentle vibration filled Vasquez's mind, followed by a series of impressions, images, emotions, concepts flowing directly into her consciousness. "They're telepathic," Dr. Taylor whispered in amazement. "They communicate through thought." More impressions flowed into Vasquez's mind. The alien ship under attack by dark, angular vessels, desperate flight, the sending of the distress call into the void. "I think I understand," Vasquez said slowly. "You were attacked, you need help." The alien scales shifted to a luminescent blue, and the vibration in Vasquez's mind changed tone. Somehow she knew this meant affirmation. "I am Valix," the alien communicated through thoughts. "First guide of this exploratory vessel, we are Iridians, we thank you for answering our call." Vasquez removed her helmet, trusting her instincts. The air was breathable, though thinner than Earth's atmosphere. "I'm Commander Nora Vasquez of the Earth Alliance. We'll do everything we can to help you." Valix's scales flickered with patterns of light. "Humans, you are Deathworlders from the heavy planet." Images of Earth appeared in Vasquez's mind. "We called to you because of your strength, your reputation." "Deathworlders," Engineer Patel repeated, confused. Another Iridian moved forward, this one smaller than Valix. "Your world, Earth, is classified as a death world in galactic terms. High gravity, extreme weather patterns, diverse predators. You evolved to survive conditions that would kill most sentient species. Your physical strength and endurance exceed that of most known civilizations." The humans exchanged surprised looks. They had never considered Earth particularly harsh or dangerous. "The Void Dominion attacked our research outpost," Valix continued through telepathic impressions. "They will return to finish what they started. We need help, Deathworlder, help." Vasquez nodded slowly. "We'll take you back to our ship first and treat your injuries, then we'll discuss this Void Dominion." As they escorted the Iridians to the horizon, Vasquez couldn't shake the feeling that their simple rescue mission had just become something far more significant. Humanity had just taken its first step onto a much larger galactic stage, one where they were already known and feared as Deathworlders. The journey back to Earth was quiet as the Iridians recovered in the medical bay, their wounds healing with surprising speed once treated. Commander Vasquez spent hours in communication with Valix, learning about the Iridian civilization and the threat they faced. When the horizon finally reached Earth orbit, a priority message awaited them from Admiral Jackson: "Report directly to Alliance headquarters, full security protocols, no delays." Alliance forms. The landing pad at Earth Alliance headquarters was surrounded by security personnel as Commander Vasquez led the Iridians down the Horizon's ramp. She noticed the many weapons trained on them, hardly a diplomatic welcome. Admiral Jackson waited with the full Earth Council, 15 men and women responsible for guiding humanity's interstellar policies. Their expressions were guarded as they observed the tall, crystalline-scaled aliens approaching. Commander Vasquez, Admiral Jackson said formally, I see your mission was successful. Vasquez nodded. Yes, Admiral, may I present First Guide Valix of the Iridian exploratory vessel Luminous Seeker. They have come seeking our help. The council chamber was a vast circular room with viewing screens displaying Earth's defensive capabilities and known space maps. The council members took their elevated seats while Vasquez and the Iridians stood in the center. Tell us why humanity should risk its safety for your conflict, said Councilor Rodriguez, her voice cool and measured. Valix stepped forward. Rather than speaking aloud, the Iridian broadcast mental impressions to everyone present. The council members gasped as images filled their minds: the Void Dominion attack on the Iridian outpost, massive obsidian ships shaped like jagged spears surrounding a peaceful research station, buildings disintegrating under concentrated energy fire, Iridians fleeing, many falling. The Void Dominion believes only the strongest deserve to exist, Valix explained through these shared thoughts. They destroy those they judge as inferior. We are scholars and explorers. We cannot match their military might. Why come to us? Admiral Jackson asked. There are other civilizations closer to your territory. Because of what you are, Valix replied, their scales forming an image of Earth. Your homeworld is classified as a death world, dangerous environment, high gravity, extreme weather patterns. You evolved to endure conditions that would kill most sentient species. The council exchanged surprised glances as Valix continued. Humans possess physical strength, resilience, and adaptive thinking that exceed most galactic species. The Void Dominion avoids your space precisely because of these traits. They fear what they call Deathworlders. This is why we sought your help specifically. Vasquez stepped forward. The Iridians possess advanced technology they're willing to share. They need our physical capabilities and combat experience. We need their technical knowledge. Councilor Blake frowned deeply. This could lead to full-scale war. Many humans could die. If the Void Dominion destroys the Iridians, Vasquez countered, Earth will eventually face them alone. Better to confront them now with allies than later on our own. The council deliberated for hours while Vasquez and Valix waited outside the chamber. Finally, they were summoned back. Admiral Jackson stood. The Earth Council has reached its decision. Humanity will assist the Iridians against the Void Dominion. We will form an alliance and deploy a defensive fleet. Valix's scales glowed with brilliant patterns of joy and relief. My people will never forget this act of solidarity. Commander Vasquez, Admiral Jackson continued, you are promoted to captain. You will serve aboard our flagship Defiance under Fleet Admiral Ortega. The expedition leaves in 7 days. As they left the chamber, Vasquez turned to Valix. Well, it seems humans are going to war. Valix's scales displayed swirls of deep blue and silver. Together, Deathworlders and Iridians, the Void Dominion will not anticipate this alliance. Vasquez smiled grimly. No, they won't, and that surprise might just give us the edge we need. The human fleet hummed with activity. 7 days wasn't much time to prepare for war, but humans had centuries of experience adapting quickly to conflict. The flagship Defiance dominated the center of the fleet, a massive vessel that overshadowed the 25 other warships assembled. Inside Defiance, newly promoted Captain Vasquez walked with Fleet Admiral Ortega through the crowded corridors. Ortega was a veteran of the Mars conflict, with a reputation for unconventional tactics. The Iridians have provided their technology as promised, Ortega said. Our engineers are working around the clock integrating it with our systems. They entered the command center, where large holographic displays showed the fleet's status. Valix stood with a group of human officers, their scales shifting colors as they shared information directly into the officers' minds. It's remarkable, Vasquez observed. Their technology is decades beyond ours, yet they have almost no concept of organized warfare. That's where humans excel, Ortega replied. We've been fighting each other since we climbed down from the trees. Lieutenant Commander Ortiz, the tactical officer, approached with a data tablet. Sir, you should see our analysis of the Void Dominion's attack patterns. The main display showed previous Void Dominion engagements. Look at how they fight, Ortiz explained. Always the same approach: surround the target, cut off escape routes, then attack systematically from all sides. They're powerful but predictable. Vasquez studied the images carefully. They've never faced humans before. Ortega smiled. Exactly, that's our advantage. Later that day, Vasquez observed a training exercise in the ship's simulation chamber. Human soldiers worked alongside Iridians, practicing coordinated tactics against virtual Void Dominion vessels. Again, shouted Training Officer Joe. Humans, remember the Iridians can't withstand the same G-forces you can. Iridians, use your telepathic link to warn humans when you sense danger. Vasquez watched as the teams improved with each simulation. The humans were learning to physically protect the more fragile Iridians, while the Iridians used their mental abilities to enhance the humans' reaction times. They're learning quickly, said Valix, appearing beside Vasquez, their scales showing patterns of blue and green, hope and determination. Yes, they are, Vasquez agreed, but will it be enough? The Void Dominion is moving toward our homeworld, Valix communicated grimly. We received word today. We have less time than anticipated. Vasquez frowned. How long? 2 weeks, perhaps less. Then we need to depart sooner than planned. I'll speak with Admiral Ortega immediately. That night, the fleet commanders gathered on the Defiance for a final briefing. Intelligence reports confirm the Void Dominion is advancing toward Iridia Prime, Admiral Ortega announced. We launch tomorrow at 500 hours. The room fell silent as the weight of the mission settled on everyone present. We're ready, Vasquez stated firmly. The fleet is as prepared as it can be. Ortega nodded gravely. Remember, we're not just fighting for the Iridians. If the Void Dominion prevails, Earth could be next. We stop them here together. As the meeting concluded, Vasquez gazed out a viewport at Earth below. Soon they would be light years from home, fighting an enemy humans had never encountered before. But that was what humans did best: face the unknown and survive. For Earth and Iridia, she whispered to herself, let's show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do. The human fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the Vega star system, home to Iridia Prime's outermost colony, a small but vital research outpost. On the bridge of the flagship Defiance, Admiral Ortega studied the tactical displays while Captain Vasquez and Valix observed nearby. No sign of the Void Dominion yet, Ortega noted, but our scouts report they're approaching rapidly. We should establish defensive positions around the colony, Vasquez suggested. The inhabitants don't know we're coming. Ortega nodded in agreement. Take a team to the surface. Explain the situation and prepare them for evacuation if necessary. An hour later, Vasquez led a shuttle to the colony's surface. The settlement was breathtaking, crystalline structures that captured and refracted the light of the system's blue-white star. The Iridians there were astonished to see humans, but welcomed them warmly when Valix explained their alliance. The Void Dominion has attacked 3 outposts already, the colony administrator told them. We feared we would be next. You will be, Vasquez confirmed grimly, but this time you won't face them alone. They were establishing evacuation protocols when the alert sounded. The Void Dominion had arrived. From orbit, the enemy vessels appeared as black stars, jagged and menacing. There were dozens of them, more than the human fleet had anticipated. All ships, battle positions, Admiral Ortega's voice came through the comms. Remember your training. Vasquez rushed back to her shuttle. Get your people to the emergency shelters, she instructed the colony administrator. We'll handle this. As the shuttle raced back to the Defiance, Vasquez witnessed the beginning of the engagement. The Void Dominion ships moved with mechanical precision, forming a perfect sphere around the human fleet. They're using standard tactics, Ortega reported when Vasquez reached the bridge, just as we expected. Then let's show them something unexpected, Vasquez replied. Ortega smiled and turned to her communications officer. Signal the fleet. Operation Thunderclap commences now. The human fleet suddenly broke formation, scattering in seemingly random directions instead of maintaining a defensive posture. The Void Dominion hesitated, their perfect sphere wavering in confusion. They're disoriented, Valix observed, their scales flashing with excitement. They expect order, not deliberate chaos. Humans understand that sometimes disorder is the best strategy, Ortega replied. Phase 2. The human ships regrouped into smaller, agile teams, striking the Dominion formation from multiple angles. The battle transformed into a complex dance of light and fire as human vessels executed maneuvers the Dominion had never encountered. Vasquez monitored the tactical display, her heart racing. The Iridian ships are maintaining their support positions as planned. Valix nodded. Our vessels provide telepathic coordination and shield reinforcement. Your ships handle the direct engagement. A massive explosion lit up the view screen as one of the Dominion's largest vessels erupted in flames. Direct hit, shouted the weapons officer. Their command ship has sustained critical damage. Perfect, Vasquez said. Admiral, permission to lead a boarding team. We need their tactical data. Admiral Ortega considered for a moment. Granted, but return alive, Captain, that's an order. As Vasquez led her team toward the Dominion vessel, she reflected on humanity's unexpected role in this galactic conflict. Earth had always been seen as an isolated world, its inhabitants unaware of their classification as Deathworlders. Now, those same adaptations that had allowed humans to survive on their harsh homeworld were proving to be their greatest strength among the stars. The Void Dominion had made a critical error. They had dismissed humans as primitive newcomers to galactic society. They were about to learn why species from death worlds should never be underestimated.